Oh, wow. Brutal.
Oh, all right.
What?
Hey, everybody, take a drink. Apparently, I don't know.
Why are we taking it? And why is Brandon just half his
Oh
head?
my gosh, I didn't fix this. I didn't fix this. You know what? I'll just go back to this.
Must be a sync card issue.
You know what? It's just a.
Come join us.
It's an OBS issue.
Get in here.
Right now, so I'm just gonna go to this.
Oh,
I'm gonna go to that.
Okay, there we go.
Katie's here.
Katie's here.
Hi, podcast. Yay.
Hi, Brandon.
Pod sisters
Hi, Katie.
here.
He says hi.
So we just won't have the chat visible for this hangover because for some reason, the OBS has messed up. I had to fix it
shall
earlier.
keep track of the chat.
I didn't. Well, I mean, we can see it. It just won't be on the live stream.
why?
It won't be on
Well,
the
there
video.
goes my
Anyway.
usefulness.
We'll
Won't be
worry
on the
about it
video. Jack says hi, Katie.
Jack says hi. I guess Adam needs to come get in this now. He did.
Adam.
Complete it.
The mysterious Adam will be seen for the first time. I don't need the iPad anymore because we're in hangover territory. This is anybody new to the hangover here with Cosmos Cosmos. Here's where we just shoot the shit, so to
All
speak.
right, so this is going to last 2 minutes as we have family.
All right, so when you guys go to India, enjoy the chutney, but do not expect to have any activity the next day because of the chutney.
Said chutney. Uh-oh.
So I
Well,
went out of the course with Satish and Martin, and I have all the food I can because it's all delicious and amazing. And whatever they get, I get. Like, what do you get, Satish? I will have that. So he goes, thank you. So I eat all these delicious things. I don't know what they were because I can't pronounce them, but they were great and tasty. But then I noticed, after a while of this, my stomach just absolutely died. Like, nothing was staying in there for any duration of time.
Oh, no.
Is that like too much information?
I mean,
No.
look,
Here's
Brandon has a sensitive stomach anyway.
And then here's the too much information part. They don't really do toilet paper in most places over there. So like, what do I do with this hose? Why is there nothing to dry with? So I ended up just having to steal napkins. Anyway.
Wow, that went a direction. Anyway.
So
Wow.
anyway. So that day passes, and thank God I get through it. And on the day after that, I feel a little better, and I kind of explained to Tisha Martin, my stomach is not quite feeling good, so I'm gonna have something easy for lunch. They go, oh, that was the chutney we gave you. Yes, it's a natural diuretic that cleans you out. The fuck would you give me that for?
You have to
and not
lead
tell me?
with that. You have to
You didn't even tell me. You just said eat this. I said okay.
So they
and
gave
then
you
it
a
leads
natural
you out.
And
laxative.
then they
A natural
laugh
fucking
their
diuretic.
asses off.
They're
Oh
like,
my
this
God.
white boy is going to have
gave
the
that
night
to
of
you?
his life.
I think that was Satish. I mean, it was delicious.
That is awesome.
It was real good.
I mean, Indian food in America. Is
They
good,
didn't
so
do
I
that
can
to me.
Imagine Indian
They
food
did
in
not
India
do that to
being
me when I was
just-
in India.
Well, we went
They
to a
took
little.
care of me.
I can't say we went to Hole in Wall place because but it was a little tiny little place when you pass the monkeys and the hordes of dogs to get through and things like that. And then there's this delicious food.
Yeah, we went to
Avoid the
Chutney,
Chutney
X-lax.
Yeah, when I
Chutlax.
was in India, we went to, so they picked me up. They put me in the hotel that they thought like a Western person would want to be in, and it was a great hotel. I did have to pass through a metal detector, which I was not ready for.
Yep.
But
Every place in India passed through the metal detector.
and so and China actually. But anyway, they picked they took me to some hole in the wall restaurant, and it was so damn good. It really was good. But no chutney. No
I
chutney for
have a
me.
question. Since you both have been to India on assignment, have you been able to like preview or see kind of like how they do like a night sky show or what they talk about or
No,
kind of what
not-
they
not
focus
for
on
me.
or
Not
do they
for
do
me.
live shows or do they focus on like playback shows, which would be like movies for those that are not. In
Well, I know the
Planetarium.
one I was just at had a Star Ball, so they must do live shows.
Yeah. I'm not really. I was in Hyderabad and kind of in the middle of India, and what they did was
shit.
My whole job was to
You okay, Brandon?
train them.
You just reminded me about Hyperbad. I had things to do this week about it.
Oh.
My whole job was to train them on how to actually use the system, and so and there was this whole show production component to it. So they had me go in for the regional governor to come in, and it almost was comical in a way. Because all right, so I just wanted to sit in the back, but I was clearly the only white dude there. I stood out.
We can't
you-
hide.
I stood out, and they told me, they were like, okay, so the regional anthem is going to play, and you stand up for that. And I'm like, well, of course, I'll do that. And so the regional governor comes in, anthem plays, and we all stand up and that type of thing. And we all sit down, and she gives a speech. I don't know what was in the speech because it was in Hindi, but but apparently everybody was into it. But
do they have a choice?
There were like 2 additional regional anthems, and I don't think the regional governors knew that those anthems were going to happen. And so she would sit down, the music would play like at the Grammys, and she would immediately, and everybody else would have to jump up and stand up. And none of them knew that this was coming. And then she would sit down, and some other words would be said.
Why would they
and then another regional anthem would be played. And everybody just jumps up.
Yep.
And the regional governor's like looking around, going, basically with a what the fuck look on her face. Like, why are we doing this? It really should just be once.
Why were they doing that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. But when they stood up, I stood up. It was a really, I got to say, it was like a really cool experience. They had all of these. I don't know what the flowers are, but it's like these yellowish maroon kind of flowers, and they had them all around the star projector. There was a real like religious component to this, and it was almost like a blessing of the system kind of thing.
Oh wow!
But so they had all of that.
No water on the projectors though, right? Keep the water. That's very Christian, Catholic.
But,
that's very.
But yeah, and so I mean, it really was an interesting experience to see how, like, at least in Hyderabad, that they handle this kind of stuff, and they had a lot of dignitaries that were there, and so it was very important. It was a very important thing, and the guys that ran the planetarium there is the Birla Planetarium in Hyderabad. It was clearly just a very massive thing, and it was very important. And I was just hoping that just nothing blew up.
It's always interesting to me just how, when we had gone to, when we were both working at the place that shall not be named, and we went to different planetariums to kind of check them out and see what they did and check out their domes and stuff. And just like, even in the U.S., how every planetarium kind of does something different or has a different night sky show, and how they do it, like where, some places might be very scripted in their night sky show. We were very free, very no script, and kind of just fly by the seat of our whatever we feel like talking about or whatever the audience feels like talking about, and kind of go from there. So then it makes me wonder how, internationally different planetariums in different countries, how they're explaining the night sky, how they're talking about what is visible. Do they have the same arc to arc tour, spike to spica kind of little things that they do if they're in the northern hemisphere? How do they talk about the southern hemisphere and not having a pole, and how to find using celestial navigation, or
but
if they use the Greek constellations because those are the AAU constellations to go by, or if they do primarily go, hey, in Greek there are these, but and then they highlight more of their own and cultural constellations or something. I'm interested about that, and see how different places and countries
so Hyderabad actually did run, while the governor was in there, they did run a short show, and it obviously was pre-recorded, and it was all in Hindi. So I'm not sure what was said.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of that, and after meeting the governor, I was ushered out. And so I don't.
You were ushered out.
Yeah, it was like, okay.
Well, white guy's got to go.
Well,
get him out of here.
It wasn't because, hey, it's an American. It was pretty much a lot of people were ushered out. And so I really had to get back to the tea lady, who was more important before that visit.
Jack says incense burner to add a nice patina of ash and oil on all the optics.
Yeah. And
my dad likes a good patina.
It seemed like it was short enough where it would be that there would be a live component to it. I can't say for sure. But I do think taking off where I work's hat, I think that the global planetarium community needs more non-Greek shit. And so we need to see. I mean, India has such a rich astronomy culture. Or history, I should say, and that needs to be reflected.
I mean, most stars are this isn't Indian, obviously, but most stars are Arabic names. You know.
Yeah, and so I understand the attempt by the astronomy community to be inclusive. I understand it. Like, okay, we're gonna do Greek constellations, Roman planets, Arabic star names, but
Well, I mean, to be fair though, it was like, not. I won't say to be fair because I'm sure other cultures had it written down as well. But the Greek constellations, the Greeks had the record that was then pulled during the scientific or the
but China has that as well. In fact, China's predates
during
the
the
Greeks.
Enlightenment. But they didn't necessarily when it was when the Enlightenment was happening, when they were getting all back into Greek and Roman stuff in Europe.
Yeah,
they didn't necessarily, I don't think, have access to, not that they would care anyway, but they didn't have access to those written records of Chinese or other cultures.
But, to be honest, there is
now we do, and now things could be changed. Just like it was easy to change Pluto because we got more data, so we got more access to records of historical cultures.
And I say this with the hope that you don't take this as this is coming from a woke
white
progressive
man,
where it still is namings of constellations and stuff. Thank you for at least including the Arabic, but it's still a very racist kind of thing where Europe, well, hey, we're the only ones who figured this shit out. We had Newton. Newton did the whole gravity thing and formulated it. But, India still has a very rich culture. The
algebra.
Chinese have a really rich culture.
The zero. Where'd the zero come from? Oh, the Mayans.
Yeah. People in Australia, the Aborigines, they have a real rich astronomy, history. And so I just think it needs to be reflected. I don't know.
Jack makes a good point in chat, since it's not visible on the live stream and the recording. He says the problem for U.S. planetariums in schools, constellations are a one-line standard in elementary grade 5, so it's hard to validate additional time for it. Yeah, and that is definitely a problem where, because there are I don't know if everybody's still on Common Core these days or if they've moved to the NGSS, the science standards.
I don't know.
Like the national science standards, that it's like teachers are kind of forced to stick to, they have limited school year time to get through, and it was like that was in the history classroom, which is where I studied for my degree to be a history teacher. You have certain topics to cover, often ignorant of real topics that should be covered, such as in history and slavery and all of that kind of thing. But you have these you have to hit this and then you got to move on because you have limited time and you have all this stuff to cover. whereas you don't have time to go, okay, here's how different cultures view constellations, here's all this stuff. You can't spend the time on it, and that's in schools. Whereas I think that planetariums that are in science centers, or just standalone planetariums that aren't in schools, it would be nice if in the US, if there could be a broader approach to the night sky or astronomy and kind of the history and different cultures and how which I always, in my Arizona Skies, I always tried to talk about, well, here's how it's seen, and
cultures see different things.
And different cultures see different things. So in here, and I love telling the Native American story about the Onion Sisters versus, the Greek story of the Pleiades.
And there is overlap. There's
lots of overlap, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's important to highlight that, hey, you can see whatever you want in this shit. The most important part of, I think, astronomy and space for just the general public, for just the layman's out there. And I also hate the word layman because it sounds like for the dumb people out there, but it's just to look up, to have that interest that, it's a wider universe above you,
right.
And that every single human being is essentially looking at the same sky. Well, okay, Southern Hemisphere sees a different sky, yeah, but, we're all looking at the same universe outside of ourselves.
Yeah, and I think there's two things that unite everybody, is that we all eat. And so I think food is a great way to see, different cultures. Like, Brandon and I going to India, experiencing that amazing food, but apparently stay away from chutney.
That good chutney.
Unless you need to be cleared out.
But also don't do it before you get on a plane.
No.
But also, like we've talked about this, going to Poland and having just the pierogies. And Poland is not really, at the end of the day, not a big country.
No, but it gets walked all over.
Having the tour, it does. But having the tour of Poland through pierogies,
joke for everybody out there.
Really,
one and two,
really allowed me to just have this amazing conversation with Thomas and his partner, and
Tomas.
What?
Tomas?
Actually, yeah, Tomas. And
it's for you, Federico. Pronunciation.
Yeah, and so, but also just experiencing the food in India and in China, and when we do the shot, you will see us actually hit the table with the shot glass. That actually comes from China, and it was something that I experienced, and I think that the night sky, the universe, is another thing that we all experience, and
every. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and it should be something that allows us to, learn about other cultures.
Come together
right now.
And copyright end.
Yeah.
Every time I go to another, so I was just in India, I did this. I did it in Colombia as well. When I'm out with people, we'll take shots and we'll cheers, and I always hit the table, and they all ask me why, and then I would go on to explain why. And it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know what? I forgot to promote the shot in the main episode. So check out the shot of Cosmos with Cosmos, which we need to record more episodes because we might be running out.
So in case you're wondering, I was in China one time, and they wanted to take me out to this restaurant, and everything is communal in China. And so you have the big lazy Susan that rotates around, and we all share food and stuff like that. And so their plan was to get me drunk. They wanted two things from this night out on the town in China. They wanted to know about my tattoos, because in China it's still seen as kind of a gang thing.
Yeah.
It's a very taboo thing.
I feel like it's probably same in Japan because of the Yakuza.
Yeah. So they wanted to know about all the tattoos and what they meant and things like that. And so they were very surprised. They just aren't used to seeing tattoos on a normal person. But they also wanted to get me drunk. And I was like, I have a podcast where we drink and talk about astronomy. And the shots were really these thimble-sized things.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, there's no way you're gonna get me drunk.
You're like, dude, I'm an American. Do you have the portion sizes we do?
Yeah. So I actually had the bottle from one of the bottles that we just downed.
It's really cute. It looks like a little honey pot.
It looks like like a
little round honey. Oh, do you have
No, he doesn't
have
it.
the same one.
He shouldn't have it. He hasn't been in China.
That's your
Yeah, so it looks like what's that bear? Winnie the Pooh bear. Honey
Not
pot.
the murderous one.
Yeah, but it has this Chinese symbol on it. And
it's like a little honey pot with handles.
right, and so what we would do is it's a big table, and what they do is they will give. What you do is you give like an accolade to somebody.
Oh.
You go, okay, hey, you're a great person, blah, 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 whatever. And typically you just dink it, right? Okay. And so that was really easy with the people that were right next to me. But if somebody was across the table,
then you hit the table because you can't reach them.
You go like this.
Instead of trying to be like,
cheers. You just cheers, and then you dink the table. And it allows us to dink.
Dink.
Yeah. What is it?
I don't know.
But it allows us to dink, even though we're not next to each other. And so for us, when we do the shot, what we do is we dink each other because we're right here next to each other.
And then we dink for everybody out there.
But we dink everybody else that's out there. And
we dink
so
you.
That's why
we dink you.
That's why if you see the shot,
watchers, we dink you.
We dink you. So that's why if you see the shot, you're going to see us hit the table with our shot glasses.
Yeah. Half the time I forget.
In theory, before we actually take the shot. And
the only one that's not an international traveler often forgets to dink.
And it comes from China, and I just thought it was such just on a larger scale of things. I thought it was just such the coolest concept.
It's interesting that drinking culture in China and Japan, because Japan I think has a similar not to start another war, but a similar culture of the kanpai, and they do that where it's like they all go out to a dinner and doing the drinking and
but it's also like
ridiculous.
Here in America what we'll do is we'll go fucking cheers, whatever.
Cheers.
But in at least in China, because this is where I only experienced this, before you get to the cheers, it was, I need to say something nice about you.
Well, it depends how many shots I've had, then I'll do that.
What?
That's so American of you, Brandon.
Yeah. And it forces you to say something nice.
It'd be nice if we all said something nice about other people all the time,
As the American at the table, these were coming in all fucking different directions.
They were just trying to get you drunk, is what
they were trying to get me drunk.
They wanted to see what your limit was, what your tolerance was.
They did want to see that.
And if they could outdrink the white man.
Yeah,
that's what they wanted to see.
They
didn't. No, that hasn't happened yet.
I don't know what that says about me, but they didn't. But it was really good. It was a Chinese kind of whiskey or wine. It wasn't wine. But
you had gotten a Japanese whiskey, or did you get Japanese whiskey, Brandon?
I got Japanese whiskey from Singapore.
Yeah.
It was really good.
It was good.
It was really good, and it's actually one where you can actually just take it as a straight shot. You don't need any kind of mixer or anything to kind of knock it down.
Yeah.
But I really like that, because here in the States, they're basically what?
Fuck you, Tony. Cheers. You're an ass.
So here in the States, What is it? We don't like people from the Middle East. We don't like people from China.
We don't like anybody.
We don't
like each other.
We don't like each other.
We don't like people from Russia.
We very rarely like our family. We love our family, but other, families don't like their families.
Right.
Like, everybody's like, oh, Thanksgiving. And I'm like, Thanksgiving's fine in my family. But there's also only like, we're a small, it's my parents and my sister and then us and Adam. That's our family.
But I have to say that back when I was traveling, and I really hope to never travel again.
Jack says we say
Colonial.
and then there's the clink and we laugh evilly.
It really was cool seeing them trying to understand me, me loving being in their presence and, hearing their stories. Because I really did, it was really interesting because when I was in Beijing, the last time for training, the guy that I was really training, David, quote unquote, his real name is Ramsey, but they do try to make
Is his
American
real name
names.
Ramsey?
It was Ramsey, yeah,
Ramsey?
R-A-N-Z-I.
Oh, R-A-N-Z-Y. Okay, I thought you said Ramsey.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Ramsey,
Like
R-A-N-Z-I.
like Ramsey's.
He's telling me how. Okay, so we're looking to buy a house, right?
Yeah.
So when we buy a house, we own the house. We own we own the land that the house sits on.
Yes.
And he was telling me how he Colonel.
Colonel. I'm sorry. I thought it was it was spelled
Colonel.
Colonel,
From Hollywood, yeah.
but then I wasn't sure if you meant Colonial
I guess
Jack.
Liz
so
knows nothing.
that was my. I don't know Hogan's Heroes.
It was a fun show.
Sorry,
I've only seen a few episodes. So.
am an elder millennial.
But
I thought it was
you can
spelled.
still see
It was
it.
spelled
Yeah,
Colonel.
that's not an excuse not to see a couple of episodes of Hogan's Heroes now and then.
I don't. You know what? Look,
Gilligan's Island.
Hogan's Heroes
MASH.
wasn't. If Hogan's
MASH is the greatest.
Hogan's Heroes and MASH were not on Nick at Night, so I'm a Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie.
Those are good.
I Love Lucy. Oh, I Love Lucy so fucking much. Fan. All right.
So we were gonna watch MASH. Brandon, were you with us? We
downloaded
watched
all
the
the
first
I watched
first
a couple
episodes of MASH.
And then we
you.
watched it. How terribly racist first episode.
Yeah, and we're like, whoa! But it's
Does it?
good.
What
Are you doing Hawkeye?
were we watching something recently that we're like, this did not age
well. Yes. Oh, it was
History of the World, because History of the World Part 2
because
is
they
on
used
Hulu,
faggot.
so we watched the original History of the World, and
I can say it. You can't. Faggot.
yeah, I was like, and then I elbowed Mike, and I was like, this is not aging
Nope.
well, and he was like, nope, and I was like, but it's, there are funny parts to it, but I was like, Mel Brooks.
Yeah, but the whole was it Dom DeLuise?
Yeah, there were a lot of different F-bombs that were dropped that I was like, oh boy.
That's an interesting way of saying it. F-bombs.
Alternate F-bombs.
Yeah, alternate
F-bombs.
But I do think, and I've heard people try to take this back, where faggot needs to be taken back, and I know that makes some of you guys cringe.
It's like a
little
horrible
bit,
sounding word, though. Like, it's not a great sounding word. It's like, because it sounds like maggot.
I think we should make it mean its original meaning, which is just a bundle of sticks.
No, but
Mike's like, no.
It's like the N-word. You have to take that power back.
There is no alternate meaning
You
to that.
have to take the
Which
power
is why
back.
there's only a group of people that can use it.
Everybody
Everybody else does not get to use it, no matter who sings it
If
in their
you-
songs.
if you
censor
are-
yourself when you're singing those lyrics back.
If you are LGBTQ,
It's
can
French for
say
a
it.
small bundle of sticks. Okay, like a cigarette in England is called a,
Right, but I think if you're LGBTQ,
Mm-hmm.
you can say it, and you can take that word back,
Yeah.
and you can remove the power from the assholes.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is like the word is so steeped with.
By the way, in The Hangover, this is when we get a little bit more political and less spacey.
Yeah, so I don't know if certain people are listening, but it's just it needs to be taken back.
Police Academy 1 is not aged well. I would say there's a lot of stuff in American culture that is not aged well, and you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt just because it's
yeah, but
it's impossible for things not to age well, I would say. So, there's going to be stuff from now that isn't going to age well that we don't know yet that doesn't age well. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because they didn't know in History of the World Part 1 that wasn't going to age well.
Yeah, I just think that we need to take this shit back.
Yeah, that's what we meant. Mom.
We need to take this shit back.
Mm-hmm.
And I we talked about this yesterday. I just think progressives need to stand up. We need to take the world back. And
well,
I think
it's not like
think marginalized communities need to go, these words that you have used to hurt me, that you have used in the connection of lynching and for strapping people to fences in Wyoming and beating the fucking shit out of them.
Oh, is that the Matthew Shepard?
Yeah. Okay. We're going to take these words back and we're going to make you cringe. We're going to make you just...
And jealous that you can't use it now.
Yes. And we can use them. You can't use them. And if you use it, you're a fucking asshole. And, I can hit you in the face. I wouldn't. But it just removes that power where it's like, you can call me that. It doesn't hurt me.
I think at the end of the day...
It does not hurt me.
At the end of the day, we all just need to go outside because it's the end of the day.
You gonna bring it back? You bringing it back?
Yeah, it's getting darker. We look up at the night sky and we see all these stars. These stars look like they're nearby. We could reach out and touch them. They're light years apart. We're in a vast expanse of universe and everything is connected. Asteroids from 4 billion years ago and comets from 4.5 billion years ago, seeded the earth with water and the chemical components for life on earth. We are all made of flesh and bone and blood and iron and calcium. We all want to be happy and to be safe and to be healthy and to live our lives. And at the end of the day, we're all the same.
We're all the same.
We're all the same. And any differences are superficial bullshit that we created
they truly are superficial
in our own heads because of our over-evolved egos that we have no right of having. And so I think it's not about necessarily progressives standing up and taking over. I think it's just us as a species just learning empathy, like 2-year-olds earning empathy and
I'm not saying take over.
No, that's not what I meant. But,
I'm saying take back.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, that we have, and this is the cliche speech that I'm going to give. We have... this one planet that's our home. We all live on it. We can all share it equitably, and be better and in peace, love, and harmony, for lack of a better hippie phrase.
But that's the hard path to take. And
we've made it hard for ourselves.
To borrow from Christians, it's hard to turn the other cheek. It is much easier to strike back. And so it's hard to, look at a different culture.
Look, we all know that what we need is replicators. That's all we need. We need the technology for replicators to make money irrelevant, and then we can all come together as one. And also Vulcans. Also, I was getting to it. We also need the Vulcans to show up once we have warp drive capability.
There's no yawning. This is that big conversation, Brandon.
I'm sorry. I've been gone less 20 minutes.
So jet lagged. Are you going to work tomorrow?
I think so. Just so I get those 8 hours.
No.
Then I'll be done for the week, basically.
Okay.
Because it's Sunday. Okay, so my Saturday yesterday was 35 hours in one day.
Why are you going to work tomorrow?
It was Saturday, 35 hours straight for me. Literally.
Yeah, because
so really you only need 5 hours tomorrow, and then you have your 40-hour week.
Oh my god! Anyway.
No, I think I just.
You gotta bring it back with my bring it back.
Yeah, I think really and truly, if we just had more people look up into the night sky and have the understanding.
Or, let's make a commercial space travel affordable for all.
Yeah.
And everybody can get the outside perspective of the Earth like astronauts have gotten. And then you can see, we added those borders on maps. They're not actually
They're
there.
not. They're
Like,
man-made.
oh.
And that's what
This
the
is a precious
astronauts say.
jewel in the
So-
solar system because the entire
right.
universe
So-
is very inhospitable.
I'd
Right,
love
so
to say
when
that works
astronauts-
for everyone, but then Bezos went to space and fucking nothing changed there.
Yeah, but when astronauts come down, generally, they're like,
Yeah, that's what
we don't see any borders.
We all need that
But-
outside perspective of our pale blue dot.
Right, and so you have what is that like? It's so just a cliche thing in a movie where you have a couple
Is it a Hallmark movie?
It probably happens a lot more in Hallmark movies. You have a couple separated by a continent. Yes, and you have, and it's always a full moon, and you have
werewolves.
yeah,
Is it a
and
werewolf
so you
vampire?
you have the female lead look up
yeah.
at the moon, and they see the moon, and they're looking at the moon, they're enjoying the moon, and then the male lead, because there are no same-sex couples in Hollywood.
In Hallmark movies, at least.
That are it's like they're in like Japan, and they look
They're on
up
an army base.
and they see the same full moon, which is not going to fucking happen.
I'll lasso
but
the
anyway.
moon for you, Mary. I'll lasso the moon for you.
Yeah, but we'll say they're in California, and so they're connected by looking at the moon at the same time. It's really quite cliche, but it's really effective in a lot of these movies, even though it is a cliche thing.
I actually can't think of any movie that did that. I know it happens. I just can't think of any off the top of my head that do that.
Well, I don't have
the top of my
have
head.
a
it's
specific
a
movie,
trope.
but I've seen the scenes.
Yeah, it's definitely a trope. We're looking at the same sky.
It's a trope, yeah, and so I think, but this is really something that really could actually. I mean, this really and truly could happen. Like you can have somebody in North America, in like New York, look at the full moon, but then somebody down in Argentina and see the same full moon. Different cultures, separated by tens of thousands of miles. Same moon.
Or
We're
is
all
it?
connected. We're all connected with the elements that are in our body, and we're all connected by the universes that we see and the laws of physics that we have to live by.
And the universe is trying to kill every one of us equally.
Yes. When
I was going to go into a galactic connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
when the asteroid hit the Earth, it killed the dinosaurs.
Oh, okay.
or
I
led to
was.
It killed the dinosaurs equally.
It did kill the dinosaurs equally, which allowed mammals to
Well, I mean,
evolve
alligators
into
still
what we
around,
are
so
today.
I don't know about equally.
Although we did see a
And birds.
metal sculpture
Birds,
of a
alligators.
caveman shooting a
That's the
spear
first
at a
time you saw
raptor
it.
on our way home
And I
from
see it every time
Roseburg
we
yesterday,
pass by there.
which I've just noticed.
But the thing is like you said, like the difference between us is superficial, and it really is, the color of our skin and
The money in our wallets,
the
bank
gods
accounts,
we believe in or don't believe in. And
the flags we choose to wave,
yeah, and so
the patterns of cloth we've sewn different colors into.
and it's just I think that the world would be in a much better place if we embraced those quote unquote differences, those cultural differences.
But Hallmark
And-
is apparently leading the way, though, because they're doing it better about LGBT
Yes.
couples, according to
But
Jack.
okay, let's be honest. You still have fucking stupid people. Like who was that Full House?
Tim Allen.
No, Tim Allen.
Oh, Candace Cameron. No.
Yeah,
Full House.
Cameron.
Full House. I'm sorry. I was thinking
Tool Time?
Tool Time. Home Improvement.
Home
I don't know why I
Home
went to Home
But
Improvement.
the show was Tool Time within Home Improvement.
I don't know why I went to,
Yeah, no.
Candace Cameron.
She was like, I'm leaving Hallmark because they don't believe in this gay stuff. And
Because they don't or do?
They don't.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the opposite of her brother, Kirk Cameron.
No, she's leaving it because
they-
Hallmark is going
Oh,
towards
you said
doing
because
better.
they don't believe.
Right. And so they want a more Christian network. And so she's moving to some other network.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Opposite of her brother, Kirk Cameron, who's very anti-gay.
No, she's anti-gay.
Okay, then if
Am
they're
I not explaining this
no,
right?
you're not.
No, I'm
Okay.
confused too.
Okay.
If Hallmark-
Hold on. Then stop. Hallmark is doing better
Yes.
with LGBTQ
Okay,
couples.
you said because Hallmark does not believe in LGBTQ.
Oh, Well,
That's
okay.
what you said.
Okay, all right, then stop.
Because they do believe in LGBTQ.
Yes, quit Hallmark
Okay.
and went to an ultra-conservative show.
Okay,
So
yes.
that's what it
because
is.
Hallmark does support LGBTQ.
Yes.
She's leaving.
She doesn't.
Yes, okay. So
No,
she's...
I said Christian. Anyway, whatever. I'm 2 drinks in. Anyway, so
we know what you're getting at.
yeah. So
Yeah.
she's leaving.
Katie just walked by very like, what are you doing?
There were 2 hockey players that refused to wear the.
I'm surprised by that by
the
Candace Cameron
rainbow-
because her brother's supposed to be the...
Fuck the Camerons.
Damn it,
But
Camerons.
anyway,
Not all Camerons, just those ones.
there were these 2 brothers. I don't know, play for Tampa Bay or something. Hockey team.
I don't know.
I don't know. The Bears? I don't know what they are. It would be great if they were the Bears, the Lightning. It would be awesome if they were Tampa Bay
Look,
Bears.
I know 2 hockey teams. Well, no, I know 3. I know
Sharks?
the Penguins because I had an old boss that was a Penguin fan.
yeah.
The Sharks because the San Jose represent, and the Coyotes in Phoenix because I've been to many Coyotes games.
All right, so you had the Blues.
I say many,
Is
and
there
it's
no
like probably
Oilers,
3.
or was that a football team?
Oilers sounds like a hockey team.
Oilers were a football team.
Oh, they were a
Just
football
kidding.
team?
Just kidding.
Edmonton, yeah.
Oh, Edmonton.
I think it was Edmonton Oilers at one point as well.
Is that football?
No, that was hockey, but they changed their name. They left and they came back. Anyways, whole
But
story.
anyway,
Right.
this Tampa Bay.
I was trying to close out
2
the
brothers.
episode, but
There are
we're
these 2
going.
brothers that refused to wear the, and it was just for when they go out and it's like in basketball where you have the teams come out and they just like shoot before the game and like get all warmed up. And so you had these hockey players that would, I don't know,
Shoot
skate in
goals.
circles and shoot balls into nets and pucks into nets.
They're not playing broom ball.
And so they refused. They did not come out, and they refused to wear the rainbow thing. And it was just for the warm-ups.
But it's a rainbow. It's everybody who sees a rainbow in real life. I want to know what person has gotten angry at a real rainbow.
Well, apparently,
Other than the Lucky Charms leprechaun who can't get to that fucking pot of gold.
I can't either. And we saw a rainbow the other day.
We did see a rainbow.
Apparently,
Well, technically, the leprechaun can get to the end of the rainbow, but it's the other people that are trying to get to it.
That's right. They're trying to get
That
his
would-
pot of gold.
They would
Well,
take
He's
his
angry that
it's
they're
a,
trying
it's
to
a,
get
it's
his
a
Lucky
lot
Charms.
it's a lot of.
No, you're the one, Liz.
No, my lord. I eat Lucky Charms almost every weekend.
That's true.
She got mad at me
I
when
got mad because he ate all the cinnamon Toast Crunch.
that was like literally like a week ago.
You know that's my weekend cereal.
Well, you could have bought some more.
Well, we were house hunting.
All right. Anyway, so it's a lot of like just people who can't think beyond their nose that get upset because there is a rainbow flag that was created in the 1970s.
Am I doing it? Am I cross-eyed?
Liz and I both look at our nose at the same time.
Am I cross-eyed though right now because I can't look to see?
Like, I can't tell through the camera.
Oh,
I'll
damn
say
it.
yes.
Oh God, it hurts my eyes now.
I cannot wait until we get our new house and we put the rainbow flag up and we piss off neighbors. I can't wait.
Again.
Well, it's not Utah, so I'm hoping that it'll be less
but-
pissed off of neighbors.
And actually, the places that we are looking at.
Yes, our house in
county-
Utah has sold. We have no house. We
We
are
are
fully living at my
technically
parents'
homeless.
house. We
We are
technically have.
unhoused.
We are guests.
We are unhoused.
Our Utah house finally sold, and
And the places
we
that we're
are
looking.
either moving to Roseburg, Oregon, or Oak Ridge, Oregon. That
Which
is up for grabs
both
right now.
voted blue.
Oak Ridge is a small town, a small mountain town, and Roseburg is more of a city town of Oregon. So it's kind of like
So if you have
small
thoughts on where we
mountain
should live, we
versus-
should do
Thank you, Jack.
a Twitter poll. Where should we live?
let's do a poll right now. Should we live less civilization, small mountain town, Milky Way visibility? More
actually-
city life, easier access to conveniences.
How
Town.
far away from the nearest hospital?
And
That's a good question.
Hour-ish.
That actually has been a topic of conversation about this because I actually need it.
nowhere in Oregon is easy access to an airport unless you live in Portland. Otherwise, you just have these small ass airports.
Eugene and Salem are
Yeah, but it's like puddle hopper airports that.
But Salem International?
No. I think the
Portland
only
is.
international is Portland.
No, but Eugene's a pretty decent sized airport, though.
Is it?
Right, but
Yeah.
but
We'd
it's
be
just going to be a
closer to-
regional airport. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be. Eugene's
Well,
not gonna be
let's say this: Oak Ridge, Oregon, is a small mountain town that's adorable. Definitely small mountain town, but we did see more rainbow flags than we saw Trump signs.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And I can't tell you how happy it is that they are the new rainbow flags. So, it's not like 1970s.
Also, the best freaking burger that I got was at the Three-Legged Crane Pub and Brewery in Oak Ridge, Oregon. It was a blue apple bacon. It had slices of green apple on it.
It was
with blue cheese
delightful.
and bacon, and it was they brew their own beers. And I got the Irish Stout, and it was a dark beer, and it was very delicious. I enjoyed it immensely.
And I have to say that a guy in Oak Ridge at the
Lion Mountain Bakery.
At the Lion Mountain Bakery.
Really
By the
good
way,
breakfast
if you're ever in
burrito.
Oak Ridge, which you probably won't be, but if you ever are, stop by Lion Mountain Bakery. It's great. But he actually forced me and Liz to really kind of look at ourselves for a minute, and
We judged him.
we judged him. We did judge
Unfairly.
him, and it really was a thing. He was a great guy, and we basically asked him. We're like, hey, this is gonna be a weird question, but what's it like to live in Oak Ridge, Oregon? It's such a small town, and all this kind of stuff. And he was very honest. He did say he did say he's been there most of his life, that he loved it there.
We're estimating he's maybe mid to late 20s.
Mid to late 20s, and he basically did the speech where, it's great, love it here. It is a small town. There is a Facebook group for people that come from cities to this small town to help them acclimate.
Small town life.
Which was great. And then he was like, we have a community theater. There are some quote unquote, his words, undesirables.
No. He said there's a seedy part of town that you can avoid. But
I thought he said just
no. Well, he did, but he said that people ask him that. He said that he actually gets that question quite a lot. In the summer, they're very touristy. There's a lot of hiking, mountain biking. It's like the mountain biking capital. And so he said people he thinks are undesirables to the town, he will lie about living in Oak Ridge to deter them from their interest in Oak Ridge.
So
which apparently he
was
didn't
great.
think
It
we
made
were
us feel better.
So
it made us feel better. But he walks away, does his thing, and so Liz and I are having this real conversation about like Karl Marx and capitalism, but we also, is this some place that we can live? And we're in this. It's the Mountain Lion Bakery, but it also has community theater. It has a community
theater in the building, and then like these like local like vendors have like little like cases of like handmade jewelry and
so
artwork.
So he comes back, and part of this Karl Marx capitalism conversation that we have is interspersed with, this could be a great opportunity for us to get out of our shell. Because, yes, we're on this podcast.
In the community.
We do this podcast, but we really are introverted people, and we don't really.
But we could implement like our a star party and our planetarium skills and bring that to the town in more so than we could in say a larger city.
So
like
showing people the universal telescopes, being active in the community theater, and so we asked him. When he came back at the end of the thing, like, can I take your place? So if we wanted to get involved with the community theater, which is in the same friggin' building space, how do we do that? And he was like, you can ask me.
He's on the board.
I'm on the board.
The owners of the Lion Mountain Bakery are on the board.
The owners are on the board, and I am directing the next play.
He's directing,
we were like, what? Because in my head,
tomatoes.
I really had.
We had redneck vibes from him. We had redneck conservative vibes from him, and now
you had your own Schitt's Creek moment.
Yeah, we had our own biases that we came in with, and then we were like, "Oh,
it made
shit,
me."
We were being judgy assholes.
We were being those people, and those people that I hate, and it made me go, "Oh shit, I was those people." And
my mom did say I light up when I talk about Oak Ridge.
Yeah, I've told you that. So Yeah, I do think we need to move to Oak Ridge. But that's
Sounds
just
like
me.
the decision
Well,
has been made.
if our realtor is stalking us on this episode still, we gave her the link
no,
to the...
she's not. There's 2 people.
Okay.
And I'm one of them.
All right. We gave our realtor the link to the podcast to check out. So, yeah.
Wait a minute. No, that's not right because we have 2 people, but then we have your mom, Brandon.
Well, Brandon's not... That's only who's
And Jack.
watching on
Your mom, Brandon,
my
Jack.
I am watching on YouTube. I have it on the screen,
okay.
so I can keep up with the chat.
So we have
Interesting.
3 people. But
Okay.
anyway,
Well,
no, I have basically said that I am happy in either location. When we have 2 locations that we're looking
we have
at,
2 houses that...
and when I think of when I have where I'm living in my head, I'm looking out of the window of one of those locations, which is not Oak Ridge. It is Roseburg.
Yeah, but that's only
That
because that
said-
immediate view of a living room.
Right. And that said, and this view is a view of the valley and that type of thing. And it's out of the living
Very
room
nice
window.
view.
The Oak Ridge house, and I'm sure everybody really wants to hear this, but
Yeah. We'll let them decide where we're gonna live.
yeah, so you guys
Jack, it's up to
decide.
you. Where are we gonna live? Small town or town?
or close to
or
convenience.
regular town?
But yeah, I told you that you seem happy with Oak Ridge. That's where you get your feels. And I told you in this very room that I think that's where we should be. And like I said, I am happy in either location because I can get to the medical services that I need in either location. It's just that one's a little bit longer than the other. And to be honest, it's probably 15, 20 minutes longer than the other.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have a plan.
And if we're closer to nature, we're doing more outside activities, which is
which
better
is
for
going
our
to lower
health.
my blood pressure
So
and reduce my aorta to like well, actually, it won't reduce.
does it not reduce?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. It is this size at a minimum
Well,
forever.
let's just wait. It keeps it from getting bigger.
It keeps it from getting bigger.
Yeah.
And we are a family
Anyway.
that has boats. We have 2 boats.
Well, and when we say that, we mean inflatable
It's 2
kayaks.
It's 2 kayaks.
It's inflatable kayaks. Those are our boats.
You know what? It makes me feel rich.
It's the cheaper kayaks.
It makes me feel rich.
We have the cheapest kayaks
It makes me feel like I can
from
be on
Amazon.
lifestyles of the rich and famous with my boats.
Anyway, but the Oak Ridge house has more room for, say, Brandon to come and stay
sleep.
with us. Yes.
And also like your parents and Katie and
Jack,
Adam.
Jack, you're welcome.
Jack,
To come.
you're welcome to come. And oh God, there's so many rivers.
My God, the rivers. Whether we're at Roseburg or Oak Ridge, rivers everywhere.
But especially in Oak Ridge, like we would
Lakes and rivers.
We would turn a corner, and to be honest, I realize it's the same fucking river. But we would.
River.
It was rivers everywhere and lakes. There were at least a couple lakes we saw.
And yeah, we sip wine on the yachts on the weekends. Yeah, we'll just in our
With
inflatable
pinky
kayaks.
out.
Just
Pinky out.
We'll record an episode from our kayaks. But an extra plus of Oak Ridge, the Milky Way will be visible. No, hardly any light pollution. We get a very nice night sky, which the last time that I saw a beautiful night sky was probably when Mike, and Brandon went camping in the fly hell.
Oh my God!
Fucking daytime fly hell.
Speaking of cupids,
Yeah, where we went
So
a couple of years ago.
yeah,
So,
I will let Brandon tell you his story about the first time presenting to me and Liz.
we've told that story ad nauseum.
Okay,
Brandon
well,
doesn't
we'll let him do
relive
it because I'm pretending like we haven't told that story. But
I'm trying to close out the episode. So we can
but it's
hang
not
out with
going to
Katie.
happen.
Okay.
And so Brandon got lost looking at the planetarium sky. That's how I felt.
That's when we first went to Alamo Lake State
Yep.
Park with the telescopes for a Star
I
Party
was
event.
lost.
And working in a planetarium, you think, oh, we got this. We got this night sky.
We did not
we
have
went
it.
out there and I looked up and I was like, oh no. I was like, there's so much more and it's so much bigger because it's not in a 60-foot dome.
There were so many
spread out, and I was like, holy crap. My first time seeing the Milky Way and just that many stars was mind blowing.
Yeah, it's insane. All right, close it out.
Anyway, I gave so many segues. Anyway.
Close us out.
Inflatable yachts.
Look,
Yep, they're inflatable yachts.
There's your segue.
To make a better world, go outside on your inflatable boat at night.
Drinking wine.
River, drinking wine with your pinky up.
Pinky out.
I like
Except
to
I
drink
need
with
to
my
go
pinky
like
up.
There.
I know. I like your
pinky
weird,
out.
Your weird, no,
Okay,
I
this
want your
one.
weird pinky. Okay.
My
Look up at the
fingers.
night sky and just look and imagine all the stars that you see, or if you're in a city area, the 4 stars that you can see. They're light years away from us right now, and we all belong to the same universe. We're all the same, and we need to come together right now.
Right now, over me.
Yes. Anyway, thank you for joining us on this episode of Cosmos with Cosmos' Hangover.
Which was a ride.
Yes, on all the things at Drinking Cosmos on Twitter, Cosmos with Cosmos, everywhere else, Spotify, Google, Apple, Anchor.fm. Check us out.
Message us on where we should live. Cheers.
Yeah, vote on where we should live forever.
For the
Otherwise,
next 20 years.
Otherwise, thank you for joining us, and we will
Thank
see
you.
you next time on Cosmos the Cosmos
It'll be
topic.
something.
To be determined. We'll let you know.
And it is time to not sleep because then I'll wake up at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
Well,
no, Brandon, stay awake. We'll just text you like every 5 minutes just to keep you
I don't know how
awake.
this is going to work.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Cheers,
thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
We'll see you.
See
Stay
you.
safe.